I think we should have it up for a few seconds, don't you? Okay.
We have this really interesting fancy fold card. Woo, there we go. We have another fancy fold card. It actually goes like this, Michelle. And then we have this fancy fold card. So we're kind of into the fancy fold, I think, today. What do you think?
These look like a lot of fun. We're going to get started very shortly. Make sure you have all your supplies with you and your Krazy Krafter box. And we're going to start with which one first today, Tara?
We're going to make this snail. We're going to follow the directions, and we will be starting off with this cute snail card. Okay, so now that we know what we're going to do, let's look at our box, shall we? Let's see here. Okay, so our box, you all should have got this. I'm fooling with the camera just to see how I want it. Just not to make you guys sick or anything, so sorry. All right, just kind of get all my little tools out of the way. So here is our box. And when you got it, inside, when we first open it up, we're going to have these instructions. And the instructions will walk you through how to do all the cards. So they are double-sided. So there are 5 projects. And if you have to leave or something, then you can refer to this or you can replay this video. So it'll be available. And then inside, everybody got, yes, Sharpie markers. Now this is silver gold. And why did we give you Sharpie markers? Well, these are alcohol ink markers and they could be used on the glitter paper. Do I recommend them? We'll see as we go. But the problem with the Sharpie marker is they don't have a nice brush tip like our Olo markers or other alcohol ink markers in the crafting world. So it can be a little hard. The shine will come through, but I don't know, it's a personal choice. But we're going to be using these throughout the projects, and I'll show you different ways to use these two markers that are kind of fun. And then we have our projects. Now our projects are kind of in little baggies, so we can easily grab the ones that we need. And so you will see 5 baggies full of projects, and then I'll tell you which one to get at what time. So this will have everything we need in there. We have our glitter paper, which we will definitely be using, and of course all of these fun stickers. So these stickers, we have sentiment, we have dots, more sentiment, borders, and then a lot of the images we'll be using to complete our projects. So that's what's in your box. Hopefully you're all set. You're going to need your paper trimmer. And the first project is this one right here. So I want you to get this paper out with this plaid paper pack, and we're going to need our glitter paper, and we could put our box of projects to the side until the next one. So we're not going to open our glitter paper yet, so I'm going to put that aside. And let's see which stickers we need. I'm a little rusty at this, so give me a minute. I like to be organized. How about you guys? So this is the card, so I just want to make sure. So look how cute this card is. So I don't know about you, but the theme is birthday. So we had to have a happy belated birthday. How many of you get behind the times? So this is perfect for you. However, you could also just say happy birthday and leave the belated out. But it is a small mini slimline card. All right. So it looks like we're going to need the snails. So we're going to want that. We're going to want our dots. And we're going to want our border. Okay, so snail, dots, border, paper pack, and we're set to go. Alrighty, so let's start. Let's go ahead and open our pack. I'm going to put these to the side. And we're going to get everything out of here. Okay. Now, we did include an envelope for you. We, just as a heads up, we are not always going to have an envelope in all of our packets during 2026 because that's one of those things that is harder to get now in our supply chain, but you did get an envelope here, which is kind of nice. So we don't really need that right now because we're not ready to send it to you because we haven't made it yet. So we have our slimline card and our papers. Now, if you look at the instructions, I have tried to highlight in red all of the cuts so that we can cut kind of first and get that out of the way. So let's grab our paper trimmer. Okay, and I'm using a Fisker paper trimmer, which I really like. Do I have a favorite? This is perhaps my favorite one that I'm going to be using. And what I like about it, it has this little wire that helps me really line things up. And it does have an arm that will extend. So I do like this. I like that it comes out 6 inches because when you're a card maker, that 6 inches is really key for you in many ways. All right, so the first thing is it says trim the green cardstock 6 3/4 by 2 3/4. So I am going to need that arm. And again, why 6 3/4? Because we're doing that mini slimline. So let's get that 6 3/4. Okay, by 2 3/4. Okay, and I'm just going to make sure. Yep, that looks really good. There it is. Perfect. So then it says to trim the white cardstock. So I'm going to do all my trimming right in the beginning. And it says to do that at 6 1/2 by 2 1/2. All right. If you have any comments, let us know. Michelle will be monitoring here and there and answering. Okay, we're also going to trim this plaid paper 6 1/2. And this is going to be by 1/2 inch. Now on this trimmer, I have measurements on both sides, so I'm going to use this side here to go to 1/2 inch. All right, that seems very small, but let's look. Yep, that's about right. Now, we have so much paper, if we want to, we could make it 3/4 inch. And heads up, I do change things as I go. That's part of crafting together. So I am going to cut another strip, I think 3/4, to kind of see which one I'm going to like. So I have 2 strips and then I'll choose, all right? So you could do the same, whatever you want. Follow the instructions or not. All right. It does drive people crazy, but that's the kind of crafter I am. Okay, so now we're going to actually start making the card. So the first thing we want to do is fold our pre-scored card. Now if you have a bone folder, I have this kind of cool one from a while back that I kind of like. So I'm going to use it, but you could use the one in your scoring tool. If you don't have something like this, you could use the, sometimes I use the head of my tweezers and I kind of go like this. So you could use your fingernail, whatever works for you. Okay, so we have that, and the first thing we're going to do is position it landscape. That means opening on the bottom. Okay, so we have that, and we're going to adhere this green cardstock to the center of our card. So I'm using my Tombow roller. It's a dot roller. And what I like about it is if I make a mistake or if I don't like how I put something down, it's very easy to reposition. So do that. All right, so I got that. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so we're going to do that. All right, so now it says trim the white and adhere that into the center of the green. So this should be going right there in the center of the green. Now, you probably know this, but does it matter which side of your cardstock you're putting the tape on? No, because it's cardstock, so both sides are the same. That was a trick question, by the way. Okay, that looks pretty good. So we got that. And now it's telling us to adhere the plaid paper that we did across the bottom. So this is the question I'm going to ask myself. Do I like my 3/4 one where I can put it to the bottom, or am I going to use my half and maybe slide it up a little? So I think because on the card, if you noticed, there is a little white showing down here. So it wasn't put all the way to the bottom. So that's why the 1/2 inch. But I don't know. I think I like the little thicker one. So you do the one that you like, but I'm going to go with the 3/4 inch. And I am going to go close to the bottom. I don't think it really matters in the long run. Either one works. Okay, so we have this much of our card made. Look how fast that went. Wasn't that easy so far? And I believe this is where it's going to say peel the border sticker. Now, if you're not familiar with what a border outline sticker is, it is a sticker. In this case, it's white vinyl, and every single thing on your sticker sheet is usable. So these have all wave borders. So all you have to do is start by peeling one from the top, and we're going to, now you can have a choice here. You could either have the wave up like I'm going to do, or you could have the wave down. Completely up to you. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this on the bottom, put my wave straight across, just like that. And if you notice, it's a little long, so that's where we're going to get our scissors, and we're going to trim. Okay, I didn't trim real well because I'm too far away, so there, that's better. Okay, and then just make sure that's down by pressing it down. But look at that. Didn't that add something fun to the card? Now, these borders are perfect for adding, on seams, making patterns, doing all kinds of fun things. So I really, really suggest you have a supply of borders. We sell them in 5 main colors: white, black, copper, gold, and silver. So they're really nice to have. Okay, so we have that. All right, next on our instructions is peel the sentiment. Now, where are we going to find that sentiment? It is located on our sticker sheet. If yours is in a package, it's now time to open that up, get it out of the package. And what you're going to see on here is that there are opportunities. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these snails on here. Now, what you have to notice also is 3 of them are going one way and 3 of them are going the other way. Okay, so in this example, we are taking the 3 snails that are facing to my right. So I'm going to follow the sample, but if you wanted to, you could do the left snails, but then this will go over here. Okay, but for now, we're not on the snails. I just wanted to point that out before, in case you get ahead of me. We are doing our sentiment. Happy birthday, and the word belated is up here. So I'm going to use my favorite tweezers. I'm going to come in. I'm going to lift the word happy. And if you notice a little bit of the inside of the A and the P are there, that's okay. I'll show you how to get rid of that. But for now, we just want to kind of keep it there. Okay. And then the word birthday. Oops. Okay, so I was pulling a little hard. This rarely happens, but I'm kind of glad it did. I want to actually do the word belated first, but then I'm going to talk about that birthday. Okay, here's belated. And then my birthday. So my birthday, I kind of pulled a little too hard. I do that every so often. It doesn't happen, like I say, very frequently, but it happened here, and as you notice, it broke off. That's okay, because if I go to my sticker sheet, and it looks like there's a part of that that's just being difficult. And so you can see, because it's a sticker, all we have to do is just stick it back together. So it's really not a problem. I think the little T was kind of stuck on there. All right, so happy belated birthday. Got that going. Now I told you about having a little bit of the inside of that A. What I'm going to do is, once I press this down a bit, I'm going to use my tweezers. So you could use a poker, tweezers, anything with a sharpness to it. And I'm kind of scraping that out. So I'm scraping the inside of the E. Make sure your words are down. But it's always better to do this once you have it down on the paper. Because if you try to do it in the air or something, it's really too hard and you'll get frustrated. But they just come right out. This A is kind of, I think it's hiding over there. We'll let that hide. The D and the H and the T and the R have nothing. That's supposed to be like that. So there we go. Happy belated birthday. How easy was that? Okay, and one thing about our sentiments that are really, really nice is the fact that they are so, you know, they're dark. So they're black usually, but they could really be seen on all kinds of papers. So I think that's really nice. Okay, so look how far we've come. We got all our papers on, our border on, our sentiment, but now what we have to do is come up here and we're going to look at our dots. Now, it's hard to see these dots, I know, a little bit because it is a holographic silver, which is what we love. So one of the things that I like to do is weed. And weed means I'm going to remove the part of the vinyl that is non-usable, which will give me all the dots. Now sometimes when you do this, you may lose a dot. As you notice, this dot hung out here in this one. You could either pick it out or you could just say that's okay, which is what I'm going to do. Okay. So why I did that is, look how much easier it is to see and, of course, pick up the dots. So it looks like we want 3 here. So we want, which I am going to call mini, small, medium, large. So we're going to go to the medium, the small, the mini, and there's those 3 right there, and then we have 2 over here, which is the medium and the small. Now these particular adhesive dots that we sell are wonderful because they are a substitute for a sequin, but you don't have to put any adhesive on them, and they are flat, and yet they have that holographic nature to them, which is really cool, I think. So these are the best for adding those little something something to give a pop to your card. Okay, so it looks like now we've pretty much done everything. We'll put the string of the balloon on after we go to the snails. We also have these hearts. So let's go ahead and get that heart. And it's kind of hard to see where they're going to be because we haven't cut out our snails, but we might as well just go for it. And we could position our snails after the fact. So I want a large heart right here. And as you can see, it's going to be pretty much under the H, kind of up here. Put that there. We want a medium or a little smaller heart. And we're going to put that around the A here. And then we want another one of those. And we want to kind of put it this way around the D. Okay. We might as well get that string now just so that we don't forget it. Kind of set it up. Now, can you weed with all the images? on here. Yes, you can. And I often do that as well. Okay, so the string has a little thicker side and a thinner side. I'm going to put my thicker side down below, I think. And I'm not going to press too hard on that, because if I need to lift it up, once I do my glitter image, I can. But once I put my glitter image down of the heart, then I'll press it down better. Okay. Now, we put down our hearts, and we're going to color inside them on the paper. Okay. So what we're going to have to do is make sure those are down really well. And I'm using what we call our mini brayer here at Krazy Creation. It is a great tool just to make sure that you really have everything down. But we want to make sure that when we color, none of the color bleeds outside the sticker. So that's why I'm using that brayer tool. Now, this is where we're going to use our Sharpie. So I'm going to pick silver to kind of go with the silver dots. I'm going to come in here. I'm just going to color inside the heart. Now this will not seep through the whole card to the inside because we have several layers of cardstock down here. Now if you're familiar, if you try to color with an alcohol ink marker, sometimes if you don't have like the green behind here, it will go to the other side of your card. So you want to make sure that you always have a couple layers there. But look how cute that is. Now, sometimes these come out a little darker, which they are right now, and they will lighten up to this silver. Okay? So all that's left for us are our beautiful snails. So let's go ahead, get our glitter paper, and do our snails. Okay, so here's our glitter paper. I'm going to take it out of the package. Now, the thing that you always have to do with our glitter paper, no matter what, is burnish. So you need to prep the glitter paper, and you do that by burnishing. Now, burnishing is rubbing it with your fingers, removing excess glitter, and making it more shiny through the oils in your fingers. So you're actually breaking the crystals in here, and we're adding more shine. Okay, and if you look, you'll have a little bit on your fingers. Just dust that off. Or if you're into glitter, what a great thing to put all over your face or your hair. How fun. It's like a little embellishment all to itself. Okay, now we need our snails. So we're going to go for the ones facing right. Now I want to point out that this part of the antenna, we don't want a fussy cut. So what I'm going to do is try as much as I can to kind of have that part off my glitter paper, but the part I'm coloring on my glitter paper. That way, when I come to have to cut it out, it's a little bit easier. So when I do cut this out, what I will be doing is lifting up this, cutting behind it, and then putting that back down. It just makes it easier. You don't want to fussy cut those antennas out. That's a little too much. Okay, so we have 3 of our snails. And then we need a heart, a balloon, so a large balloon. Okay. So I took off of the sticker sheet snail 1, 2, 3, and a heart. Each of these hearts are the same. Each of these snails are the same, except for the way that they are facing. Okay, so that's all we need from our sticker sheet. I do want to point out you have these cute little envelopes with hearts coming out. You can make something with those and these extra hearts that might be left over. How fun to do something on your own and be creative there. Okay, now we have to make sure that our stickers are down. And again, I'm using this brayer tool. Now, if you don't have a brayer tool, what I suggest you do is turn your paper over, and we could do that anyway, and give it a good rub from the back with your hands. Or maybe you have another tool that you can use, but you just want to make sure that there's a good, tight, you know, adhesiveness to that. Okay. Now we're going to color. So I am using alcohol ink markers. The brand is Olo. So I'm going to look for my red. Let me find my red. Okay, I'm going to use this right here as my light red. And I'm going to look for, I think, 1.5. All right, so I'm going to use 1.5, R 1.5, R 5.1. Isn't that kind of funny? They're reversed here. Okay. When you have an Olo marker, there are two markers hooked together. We love these. All of the ink is in the carriage here. It is liquid ink, so it's very fluid and you don't need a lot to color. On the other side is a different color, so you have two different colors. I'm using this R 1.5. It has a brush tip. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to start by coloring where I want it shaded. So I think I want most of my heart to be light over there. So I'm going to put a lot of dark on one side. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to use the 5.1 side. And I'm going to start where that dark ends. And I'm just going to blend the rough edges. I want to get rid of those lines. And then you do pick up some of this dark color on your light color, so you want to come to a scratch paper. In this case, I'll use my instructions. Tap that light color off, and then just go back, and that's all you got to do. Okay, so I have dark to light. Now, if I want to add more dark, I can go in. I really like my balloon looking that way. So I'm going to call it. And that's all there was to the balloon. Now let's do the bodies of the snails, which is a dark light green. So in this case, the way that I've set my marker up is I have the dark YG 8.7 on one side, and I have YG 2.5 on the other. So I'm going to use both of these colors. So I'm going to open up both sides. And I'm going to start with my dark. I don't want a lot of dark. And just kind of go in. That looks good to me. And again, I'm going to, off the camera, I'm tapping my pen on that scratch paper. Now, if you want a little bit lighter of a snail, another color that I really like using is YG 8.5. So let's see what the difference is. So as you can see, it's a little bit more mossy of a color. And then I want to make sure I have the light color. That kind of shows you what both of them kind of look like. Not as much of a contrast with this mossy one. So I'm going to go back, add a little bit more, and then blend. Okay, so you choose which one you like. I'm going to go back to my darker one, which was the YG 8.7. and blend with my YG 2.5. Okay, there we go. Put the caps back on. Now you could always match your cap by what's on the bar to the cap top. So that way you know you have the right cap on the right side. Okay, so now let's go for our blues. So in this case, I'm going to do this B 0.4 right here. And I want to do, I think, B 2.2. Let's see if I can find that one. Here it is. Yeah, so I'm going to use these two blues right here. Now you could use any blues you want to. So I'm going to go ahead, again, start dark. And I'm going every other one. And then I'm going to go to my B 2.2 shade. Everything always looks so good on the glitter paper. Now for the in-between ones, I'm just going to put the light. Give it some contrast all by itself. And there we go. How easy was that? So easy, Kara. So easy. All right. Let's do the same with an orange. I'm going to go in, get a dark and a light orange. So this is O 2.4. And let's see here. How about, I am looking to see what I want. Oh, there's OR 2.5. Let's see how that looks. Oh, OR 2.6. Okay, let's try that. OR 2.6, O 2.4. Now, OR stands for orange red. O is just orange. That's how Olo did it. Okay, that's a little dark for me, which is okay. So I'm going to go to this OR 2.5, see if I like that a little better. And I could color over it, so it's not a problem. I do like that better. Okay, so we're going to go in there. And then I'm going to go to O 2.4, color that in. That's my lighter color. And then I'm going to go light in here, light in here. How wonderful. Okay, so all we got left now is yellow. Now yellow, by the way, is the easiest color ever to blend because it doesn't have a lot of color in it. Now one of my favorites is this Y 2.3, and there is a lighter yellow. There's this Y 1.2, but you can see how much brighter it is. And then there's Y 2.0, which really has hardly any color. Okay? I don't know why we keep having that swaying. I'm sorry, guys. I'll try not to rock the table. This is Y 2.3, which should be a darker yellow. Let's see what Y 2.2 is. There's that. It's kind of more of a buttery yellow, that Y 2.2. I'm just going to put that in there. And then if I try this 2.0, it's very subtle. So I'm not sure if I like that. So I'm going to go to the 1.2. It has a little bit more shine. But as you can see, I don't stress when I color. It'll all work out. Now, there's my yellow. If I really want to add, like I did here, a little bit more definition, I'm going to have to go more into something like a YO, which is a yellow-orange. And I'm just going to add a little bit. And as you can see, it picks up a little darker because it has this orange in it. And so maybe we like that a little bit better to give it more definition. And I'm going to go back to that wide 2.3. And that kind of does add a little bit more to the yellow so that you can see it. Okay, hopefully that helped you out in terms of picking out some colors. It can be, I think that could be the hardest part of making any card. Then what we're going to do is all you have to do is come in here. I'm just going to trim one of them because that will be your homework, is to trim everything out. We call it crafting homework. Let's see here. So what you're going to do is follow the outline. Remember on the snails to lift up those antennas, cut behind them, but follow the outline of the sticker. Okay. So I did do that. But as you can see, I still have a bit of a white core around it where you could see how I cut. So one little trick for that is to take a black marker. In this case, I'm going to use this black Olo marker. And you have to be careful, but you're just going to go around the edges. Be careful not to touch the black and then get it on your work. But that way, when you do that, it looks, the white core looks like the sticker, and you don't have any problems. Now let's go ahead and put this heart on our card. Okay. And remember, we didn't put this down real hard because we wanted to make sure we liked where it was, which I do, so I'm going to do that. And look, that's what you have to do. So please notice I had to put adhesive on the back of my cut image to put it on the card. So now all you have to do is trim out these 3 snails and put them right here on your card. And that is card number 1. So I'm just going to take a mini break just for a second to make sure that everything's working out well, and I'll be right back. So hang in there. Okay, I'm back, and I'm here to do the second project. Just kind of put me out a little bit. There, now you can see me. And we are going to work on something really fun. So this is a brand new shape of one of our shakers. And I'm really excited because we are coming out with at least, I believe, last I counted, 3 new shapes. So this will be one of them. And you guys get to be the very first one to work on it. So let's look. Okay, so this is a star. So the star is just so cool. I love it. And it is the new shape. Like I said, it is a shaker. And I just think it's so fun. So we're going to make this card. So let's go ahead, take everything out of our pack. So you want the pack, obviously, with the shaker card. So you're looking for that. And we'll get everything out. We also are introducing new bits. So we'll have brand new sprinkle bits in our booth at the expo this year. And I believe, I'd have to verify with Michelle, we will be also including them online along with our shaker shapes. We are in the process of migrating to a brand new platform. So not everything is on the website right now. But it will be, and we're shooting for March, so something to look forward to. Okay. All right. So the very first thing is, again, you have an envelope. We don't need the envelope, so let's go ahead, put that to the side. And look at what you have here. You have glitter paper, color glitter paper. So you could always take your white glitter paper and put a color on it. And we're going to use that as an accent here in this particular project. But I think that's really fun. And then we only have this paper and we have our pre-scored card. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to jump right into the shaker because we're going to do something very different with our shaker. Let's take out our shaker pieces. And every time you have a Krazy Creation shaker, you will have 4 pieces. You will have the chip, which in this case is white. A lot of when we sell them for retail, they are black, and then you could put a paper on it if you wanted white. You could put a white cardstock on it. We have our foam, which gives it that little lift up for the little bits to be inside. We have our acetate so you could see through. And then we have our paper rim. And that's the part that I want to start with. So if you notice, our paper rims come in the color black cardstock, but this is not black. This is silver. Guess what we'll be using? Any guesses out there? I think you know. So I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper here. You know what? To be quite honest with you, it's the back of my snail sticker. Just so you know, I'm going to use that because I'm going to color this. So I'm going to look at each side of this and I'm going to see if there's one I prefer over the other. Not really. So I'm just going to lay it down. We're going to take our silver Sharpie marker and we're going to color this. There we go. Well, that's nice. This worked for me before. Oh, there we go. It had to get going. Okay, so you're just going to color this. I was a little worried there because I did it before. So you have to get your pen going because mine took a minute to get fluid. And we're doing this first just so if we need it to kind of dry a little bit, it can. Or if we want to go over it a little bit more, we can. So, who thinks this is cool? Isn't this fun? So we are altering the color of our paper with our silver Sharpie marker. We're just going to color this. Go. And doesn't matter if it has a little bit of lines in it, not really. You don't have to be perfect. For all of you who want to be perfect out there, don't. It looks good when it's a little distressed looking. Okay, so I kind of have done all that. And you could hold it a little bit closer to see how you like it. Maybe you want to do the sides a little bit. I might let mine dry and then come back to it. But wasn't that fun? Give us a comment. Give Michelle a comment saying that was totally different, cool. I learned something new. We like comments. Now I want you to know we sold out of our Krafter box. So I'm so glad you guys saw it and you bought it. But we are going to make this a subscription in our new platform so you don't miss any of them. Because a couple people have called and said, can I still get it? I'm afraid not. We've already sold out. Okay, look at that. We did it. Woohoo! So a fun way to alter your stars so we have a silver star. So let's just kind of be safe. Let that dry a bit. Alcohol ink markers, Sharpies, they are fast drying, but I don't want to take any chances. So let's go ahead. Just put it to the side, and we'll come back to it. Okay, so I am going to suspect we are going to need our paper trimmer. So let's find that. Excuse my arm. Here it is. Okay. Now, the basis of our card is going to be our pre-scored card. So we'll fold this in a minute. That's where this white part here, everything's going to go on the pre-scored card. So we don't have to cut the white, all right? So now what we have to do is trim the blue checkered paper 4 1/4, which I believe it already is, and it is 4 1/4, and we're going to do it by 2 inches. So 4 1/4, 2 inches. Just turn your paper, trim at 2 inches. And maybe if I could read better, I wouldn't do 3, I would do 2. That's the problem with getting old, right, ladies? Those of you born in my era. Okay. So this is now 4 1/4 by 2. Okay? And I believe we're going to trim our blue glitter paper. Now, the first thing we want to do is make sure that it's 4 1/4. So I like to trim on the back. So I really feel that you should turn it over. I just feel better when I do it that way. So I'm going to 4 1/4. I'm going to have an extra little piece. And then it's asking me to trim. I need 3/4 and 1/4. So basically this is about 1 inch. So I'm just going to trim 1/4 off. And I'll have both pieces then. Okay, so I have 1/4 and I have 3/4. And we are still going to need our trimmer, because if you notice, the top of this card is at an angle. So we want to make sure that we get that angle, and we want a straight line, so I'm going to use my trimmer. Okay. So to get that, the directions say, with a pencil, mark 1 inch on the right and left. Okay, so let me find my ruler. Okay, here's my ruler. Okay, and I'm going to mark 1 inch on both sides with a pencil. Then I'm going to turn this and I'm going to mark with the paper trimmer, trim 1 inch marks to 1.5. So I'm going to measure 1.5 this way. Okay, so I'm 1 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 from the left. Okay. Now I'm going to take my paper trimmer. I'm going to measure from this mark up to the 1 inch.
1 inch from the left or the right?
1 inch on the left, 1 inch on the right, both sides. So now I'm going 1.5 inch. So again, for those of you, I went down 1 inch here, 1 inch here. Then it's 1.5 from the left. Okay? So now I'm going to go from this 1.5 inch up to the 1 inch on the left. And I'm going to go from the 1 inch on the right to the 1.5 inch. And when I'm done, it looks like this. Okay? Not too bad once you've done it. And now what I really suggest we do is take this opportunity to erase the pencil marks. But it does look like we're going to put a border on there, so you don't have to do it too bad, but just to kind of get that out. Okay? So now when this goes on, you can see how that works. So let's go back to our pre-score card. We're going to fold this on the score mark, which is in half. Now this is an A2 card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And we're going to go ahead and put this on with our adhesive. I like the sound of the roller. Okay, and we're just going to mark this across here. There we go. And there's our top. Now while we're at it, let's take our 3/4 and put this on the bottom. Our 3/4 glitter paper. Now, if for some reason I trimmed my glitter paper a little over, I'll correct that with my paper trimmer in a minute, or a pair of scissors. But I might as well do my top one also. Okay. So that one doesn't seem as bad, so let me just get my scissors. Just going to open this up. You could kind of see it a little better where I did this. Just going to cut there and a little bit up here. There we go. Okay, look how the card's coming together. It's so quick and easy. And now we're going to go and find those white borders, which is our wave. And we're going to put a wave coming down this little angle right here. Now you could have your wave going out, or you could have it facing in. It is kind of hard to see the white on the white, but it does add something. And it makes your edges look really clean. Okay. Turn my card around. And I don't want to start with this like little one. I'm going to start with a scallop. So I kind of trim that off. There we go. Oops. Okay. There's the top. And now we're going to go and get another wave. And I'm going to be a little different. I think I'm going to face my wave up. Right on the edge here. So you could put it down, but I want to put mine up. A little bit of a rebel. Okay. All right, so here is our card base. We got that made. That was pretty fast, pretty easy. What do you guys think? Did you like that little angle cut? It kind of gives it a different look, don't you think? So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our sentiments on last. I think it would be better to first get our star, or having said that, I guess what we could do is kind of prop it in here. Is what we want to do is be able to put our sentiment without interference of the star. So why don't we use our white chipboard as a guide? Let's just do that and get all the rest of the decorations on. Okay, so we do have to find a sticker with that sentiment. So we are going to look through our stickers, and here it is. It's the happy birthday. The Krazy Creation Happy Birthday. And as you can see, it says Happy Birthday. And then in here, there's also and many more. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to weed this to see how that goes, just so you all could see a little easier what I am picking. Sometimes with sentiments, I don't like to do this because if they get stuck, it may not be good. So I'm just going to do a third of it just to kind of see how it goes. Yeah, so one word already I could see is a problem. Okay. I'm just going to do this. Just trying to make it easier for all of you out there so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so I weeded the top. I did, I believe, lose one word here that I could go peel off later. But other than that, you could kind of see a lot of the words now. So we're going to come in here. I'm going to start with the word birthday. Why? Because it is the largest one. And I want to make sure that I get that positioned with my star here. So I'm going to try to start as far over to the left as I can. And still kind of see how my star is going to go on here. That looks pretty good. All right. So we got that birthday on there. Now I can go in and grab the happy. And then I wanted to put and many more on here. So I'm going to pick the word and. The word many. And the word more. Again, I still just want to make sure my star can fit on there. That's going to fit perfectly. So I really like all of that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove my star. I'm going to take my brayer, Just kind of press it down a little bit here. And then I'm going to take out the middle of all of the parts that shouldn't be there. Like the P here. Come on, P. The A. Okay, there's the A. There's the P. There's the P. Okay, I got happy. Come in here and get this birthday part. Sometimes you have to work at it. There it is. Okay, birthday. And get that part out. Oops. Get the little A part out. Another A. Seems like there's the same suspects, huh? The R. And the little E. Okay, there's that. So we got it. Happy birthday and many more. Now I noticed there are stars on here, and the stars that I see on here are pretty small, the smaller ones. But if we go to the happy birthday here, I see a few stars that are a little larger. So let's go ahead, get this one out as well. And I'm going to take a big star, put it kind of down here. I guess I should get that. Put this back, make sure. Okay. And then 2 small stars. Now what I might do is you could pick these up as long as you didn't press them down. And I like that better. And then I want a big and a small up there. Okay. And a big one. Okie dokie, there we go. How nice is that? Okay, so we got that, and now we have a few of these dots, but look at these dots. They're not holographic. They are flat, kind of like the same as this. Any guesses where we're going with that? Yep, we're going to color those. So, move this aside. It looks like we're going for large, medium, and mini. Large, medium, mini. Okay? So we're going to take our Sharpie. We're going to go in here with the large, medium. Now, do you have to do this? No, but it's just kind of, you know, marrying how we colored. So you don't have to. You don't have to do anything that I'm doing. You could do your own thing. No problem. One thing is though, once you color these, sometimes it's not quite dry on the edges. So when you put it down, don't try to move it again. So you might have some that came off on the paper. Okay, so there's that one, this one, and this one. Okay, look how fun that was. So we have everything but our shaker done. And so let's work on that now. So I think this card looks so pretty. What do you guys think? Isn't that fun? Okay. I love, love, love what we do here. Okay, I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to get my shaker elements. So I have my chipboard, my foam, my acetate, and I'm going to get the top. How did your top turn out? Did it turn out good? Looks like mine could use maybe a little bit more there, but other than that, it looks pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with it. I like that distress look. Okay, so this is how we're going to put our shaker together. We're going to take adhesive. Now I'm going to use this. You could use 1/8 of an inch score tape. You can use your wet glue, but if you use wet glue, be very careful not to get it inside, okay? I'm going to do this. Put this on here. Now, one thing I have learned about doing our shakers, and I'm going to tell you this, is this goes on here. If you have any soot on yours, wipe it off on your pants, or if you have a microfine cloth. Also, what works really well with our white chipboard getting soot on it is that white eraser with that Mr. Clean guy on it. Just kind of erase it. It's really good. Okay, now what I started to say is one thing I've learned doing a lot of our shakers is oftentimes in this part of the foam in here, the little bits might get stuck in there. So I often take a Q-tip, or in this case I'm kind of taking my pencil and I'm just making sure it's not really sticky in there. It doesn't matter really, but I just find that most of the time I have a better result. I don't know how well I just did that, but I really say a paper Q-tip is really good just to go in there. Just give it a quick little whatever. And now we're going to take these little beads, sprinkles, and we're going to put as many or as little as you want. Now, aren't these pretty colors? You kind of just see how it's going. Okay, I think I like that much, so I have extra. And then, if you put too much, then you won't see, the shake part. I might have just a tad too much, but maybe I'll take a little bit out. So take a little bit out. Okay, there. All right, so now we have to put adhesive on the top here. And that's how our acetate is going to stick on here so we can see through. Okay, so here's our acetate. Now, this looks kind of foggy, so one side of it has a protective layer on it. We don't know which side. So what you're going to do is you're going to take something sharp, poke, and when you poke, if this protective layer comes up, that's the correct side. If you are poking and nothing's happening, you're on the wrong side, so try the other side. Once you get it, all you got to do is lift up and pull. Now this again is where I like to take a microfine cloth or your pants or your shirt and just kind of wipe it down because I want to eliminate any static that might be on here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this right on here. Okay. Looking good. Now I might take my brayer again and just kind of make sure. I'm telling you, these little brayers are the best, and we do sell them, just so you know. Okay. Now we're going to take this and put it on there. So I wish I had my little silicone mat, which I don't, so I'm going to use my cutting mat. I like my silicone mat because the adhesive doesn't go on my workspace then, because adhesive doesn't stick to a silicone mat. But I didn't bring it into the video room, so we'll make do. Okay, I'm going to stick this on here. Perfect. And look, we have our silver shaker. I love it, our star shaker. So now, in order to put this on here, we do have to turn this over, put adhesive on the back. Again, I would almost recommend using a score tape or something that has, you know, a little bit of strength. And then you just have to figure out how you want your star. There we are. Look at that, guys. How fun. So we've now made our star shaker card. And in this case, we didn't do anything with glitter paper other than we used our color glitter paper as a wonderful accent. Isn't that fun? So that's card number 2. I think that was really fun. And now we're going to work on the next project. But let's do a little bit of tidying. If you're like me, I have stuff everywhere. So behind the scenes here, I'm kind of cleaning up. And we are going to get ready to do this card right here. So we are going to need our dots. We're going to need that large happy birthday sticker. We are also going to need our daisies. And let me just make sure, yep. And you see where this says another year older? That was on this sentiment right here. So we need that. So these are the stickers we need. I'm going to just take my daisies out now. Okay, there we go. And we need to find our kit. So we're going to go into our box and there we go. So we're on card number 3, okay? So you should be getting this pack out. I don't think we need our border on this one. I'm just going to double check. No border on this particular card, so we could put that aside. Okay. Are you caught up? Are you all cleaned up? I'm still doing that, so. See, when I craft with you, we're kind of on the same pace. So how many of you, this is your first time ever doing the Krazy Krafter box? Let us know, because it is a very, very popular thing that we do, and we do it at least 4 times a year. Sometimes we have an extra one, but most of the time 4 times a year. And you get to do different projects, but you get to, you know, try out some of our products that you may not have thought of before. Now, we don't really show you the projects that we're going to do. We kind of do that on purpose because we found out when we show you ahead of time, it really has no impact whatsoever on whether someone's going to buy the box or not. So we decided not to do that and to make it a surprise. So hopefully, so far, you've enjoyed your surprises. We always start out by a simple kind of putting one together and coloring on the glitter, and then we start going into these fun kind of fancy fold shakers, maybe a slimline, maybe a doll once in a while. So we kind of go and do different things. So it's kind of fun. All right, included in this one is what we call a tri-fold card. Now this came from the paper cut, and a lot of times people feel that when you buy something like this, you have to just keep it into this tri-fold type of thing. Well, we're going to do something a little different with it. So we have that. We have paper, no envelope in here. So that's okay. We don't always need an envelope. All right, so let's look at this a little closer. It started out as a tri-fold. We're going to cut from this corner up to this one, across 2 panels to the top. And that's how we're going to get this type of card. Isn't that fun? So we're going to make one thing into another thing. Okay? All right, so the first thing that I like to do is I just want to fold this and make sure there's no tricks to the fold, and that how I'm going to do it will work. So I kind of like to get it how it's going to be. So this one is a mountain, meaning the fold is on the top, on the outside. This one is a valley, meaning the fold is on the inside. So if I were to close it, it will go together really nicely like this one. So mountain, valley, okay? So now I could open this up, and I know I'm going to cut from here all the way to here. So let's see where we're going to start over here. So it says to mark 2.5 inches from the bottom left. Okay, so let's get that ruler back out. And I want 2.5 inches. So bottom left, 1, 2.5. Okay, and I marked it. Now we do not have to mark this because we are literally, unless you can't see it, going up to this fold right here. Oops, that kind of got blurry. There we go. Up to here. I don't know why the camera does that, but I think we're doing okay. I think it's because I'm moving around. Okay, so this is going to go into your paper trimmer. And I am lining up the 2.5 all the way up to the top of that last panel. Not the last panel, but you know what I'm saying. So that it looks, here's the last panel to the tippy top upper left of that. And now when I do this, look, we have that card. Cool, right? Okay. I don't know what I got on my card, some eraser bit. There we go. Okay, this part we're not going to use at all. So you could use it in a, maybe you need a little white paper or something, but we're not using it. All right. So there's that cut. Let's see what else we have to cut. Trim yellow daisy paper into 4 pieces measuring 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay. What I like about this daisy paper, it has check on one side, daisies on the other. We need 4 pieces at 4 inches. So I'm going to cut 4 inches this way, the long way. I'll kind of, there we go, 4 inches. I'm going 4 inches right here. And I'm going to do 4 inches again. Okay. This is kind of interesting in case you're wondering. I do have 2 blades on here, so if one is dull and the other bothers me, and so they are not a scoring and a cutting like another brand has. They are literally 2 cutting blades that I put in here, and it's just easier for me to go back and forth. So in case you were wondering, they're 2 cutting. Now I believe it said 5 1/4. So here's 5 1/4. 5 1/4. Okay. There's 2. And we need to cut 2 more, 5 1/4. And 5 1/4. Okay. All right, so we have our 4 daisy kind of checkered papers, 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we got that done. And now we need to look at the rest of the red here. Let's see, trim 2 daisy panels 1.5 inches from the top on the right side to the upper left corner, and then 1.5 on the left side to the upper right side. Oh, that's just lovely, isn't it? Seems very confusing, but let's try it. Let's take it one step at a time and we'll see it's not confusing at all. Because the problem is our card has all these angles here, so we need to replicate the angles, okay? So this is telling me to cut, and I'm going to check it before we cut anything. Trim yellow daisy paper into 4 pieces. Trim 2s from 1.5 inches from top right to upper left corner. So trying to see, making sure I understand. I have a feeling it's this one right here, and it is the daisy. So do you see how this is daisy? This is daisy. So these are the ones we're doing. So we're going to measure 1.5. And we're going to go from this pencil mark, 1.5, I'll turn it this way so I don't confuse you, this pencil mark to this top corner. That's the thing when you have angles, they're fun to make that card, but you got to make the matting match. So you see how we did that? That's going to be the inside right here. Okay? Now in order to get the other one, we have to measure the 1.5 on this side. See how it comes down on this side? So 1.5, and then we're going to go from the top corner to the 1.5. Okay, so now we have one going that way, one going that way. So hopefully you were able to do that. And these pieces we are not using. Okay. Then it says to adhere, but we'll do that in a minute. Now we're going to trim the check paper 4 inches by 3 3/4. So let's do that. So we already have the 4 inches. We want 3 3/4. Okay. And then trim from 2 1/4 on the lower left, 2 1/4 on the lower left to the top right corner. So now we need to measure 2 1/4. And we're going to go to this top right corner. Okay, now this one looks like it is the front. Right there. So there we go. Okay, so we have that one. How are you doing there? Are you keeping up with me? I hope so. So now we're going to trim the blue cardstock 4 inches by 3 3/4. So let's take the blue cardstock, 4 inches. Three and 3/4. And then I believe we're going to measure again from we want the lower right 2 1/4. Where did my pencil go? Here it is. 2 1/4. And it's kind of harder to see that one. We're going to try. So 2 1/4 from the right, angled up like that. You know, this one, I think I did 2 1/2 by accident with my pencil. See how I can always catch myself. There we go. So these two should be the same, which they are. Okay, perfect. Just occurred to me that I measured 2 1/2 and not 2 1/4. Okay, so we got a navy. We got 3 of those, and now trim the blue. Okay, now we're going to trim the white cardstock. Boy, there's a lot of trimming in here, huh? Okay. You know, so we trimmed the blue 4 and then there to the top. Trim the white cardstock 3 inches by 1 1/2 high. Adhere to the blue cardstock 3 1/4 by 1 3/4. So let's get our blue since we have it here. We want our blue to be 3 3/4 by 1. 3 1/4 by 1 3/4. Okay, so that's 3 1/4. Hopefully I did that okay. By 1 3/4. Okay. I'm not sure I did that right because now we need something on the inside, but we'll figure it out. Okay, so now we need our white. And the white was 3 by 1 1/2. So let's do the 1 1/2 first. Sometimes it does matter what you trim first. So I'm doing 1 1/2 by 3. And I believe this is going to go in there. So that works perfectly. And then we are going to have one more, and this is where I think I kind of blew it, is the white is going to be 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So let's see. And I think I was supposed to cut this the other way. So as you can see, it's not quite long enough here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this, it is measuring 3 3/4. I'm going to make this the 2. I'm going to keep this where it is. And I'm going to make it just so the white fits in here. So I need to trim off about, looks like 1/2 inch. So I will let you know what that is. It is going to be 3 1/4. So if you didn't make it like I did, you could follow the instructions, but I'm going to make it so this fits right in there like that, and then it's going to go inside my card. So no big deal, because this part is this part, and it could just be a little less. Okay? All right. Okay, guess what? That is all the trimming that I see so far, so let's start putting our card together. That was a lot of trimming. What do you guys think? But let's see how well we did. So first of all, let's start on by having this card out and putting the pieces. So this one is going to go right here as a check. You know, these fancy cards, they do take a lot more paper than a normal card, in my opinion, because you have to decorate all the panels, unless you want them to be white. I'm going to get rid of this pencil mark up here. Okay. All right, then we're going to look for our daisy paper. That goes right here. So now we are assembling all of the papers. I'm going to put this in here. Okay. Again, I have a lot of pencil marks, so you're going to want to go back and get rid of that. And then we're going to look for our check. Oh, I guess I did have it right before. I'm going to put it down like that. Shouldn't second guess myself. Okay. All right. Now if we turn this over, we're going to see that we want this one here. And you could put a border on the bottom if you want. And then I'm going to want this one here. Okay, so we have that on the back. Turn this one back over. And we're going to go ahead, put our white in the middle of our blue. And put our blue right here. Okay, and then we have our happy birthday. Put our white. And then this is going to go right here. Now I know I have a gap here, but as you can see, the flowers are going to cover it, so I'm not worried about it. Okay. Now we might as well put our sentiments on. And so let's go to that. And we're going to look for another year older. So here's another. Year. Older. And you'll have to go back and pick out any of these centers, which I don't think I'm going to take the time to do all that. You could do that on your own leisure if you don't mind. And then it looks like we have a couple candles which are on this one. So we could add that. We'll put our candles a little differently. And then it also looks like we have the holographic dots. So we have a large, medium, small. Okay, we got that part. Then if we come over here, we have this large happy birthday. I like to kind of put my tweezers in the middle of the word, and I probably should have done birthday first, but I'll go ahead and get this happy down, but only because I need the birthday to be down there. Let's see how that works out for us. There, that worked out. Happy birthday. I love it. And then we have again the large, medium, and small dot. So once we got all that paper cut and put on here, this card went together very fast. And I do have a gap because I second guessed myself. But if you notice, when I put my daisies on, you're not going to see any of that. So that's okay. And then on the back, we'll be putting a daisy here and a leaf. So that'll go right here. And then when we close this up, we will have all of our daisies on there. So all we have left is to color our daisies and our leaves. So isn't that just such a pretty card? So we're done with the actual card base. So let's go ahead, get our daisy sticker and our glitter paper. So again, once we got all the cuts done, that went together very fast. Okay, so here is our glitter paper. And just to make sure, we have 1, 2, 3 large daisies, 1, 2, 3 leaves, and 1 small daisy. So 3, 3, 1. Okay, so here's the large daisy. Here's another large daisy. And another one. So we had 3. There's 3. We need a small one, small daisy. I'm doing what I told you guys not to do. Don't try to take this out in midair, but it was kind of a large piece, so I did it. All right, and then we need 3 leaves. Now the problem with the leaves is that they are hooked together, and we are going to be separating them when we cut them. So we could either do that now or when we cut it out. So I'm just going to put that there. And I'm going to have to take this piece out. Come on, little piece. There we go. And then when we peel another one, we only want one of the 2. So we're going to take our scissors, separate, put that there. Okay. Now, for this right here, all these insides, I leave that the way it is. As you can see, this is going to be colored in here, so don't even bother taking those out. And what do we have to do now, everybody? You should know this. We need to brayer. Okay. I really, really like my daisies having the white on the outside. So I'm using a yellow orange to a yellow and then the 0. And so that is how I colored these to look like this. Okay, so I'm going to take that Y 2.3 and I'm going to look for a yellow orange somewhat close. So if I'm not sure, what I like to do is kind of say, okay, there's that color. And am I thinking this is going to be enough contrast? Yes, it looks pretty good, that contrast. And then I need something called a 0. Now a 0 has absolutely no color, and you want to make sure the tip is clean. So it may look dirty, but it is clean. Okay? So those are the colors I'm going to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just putting this YO 2.3 just a little bit around here. Okay. Then I'm going to come in with my Y 2.3 and just bring that out a little bit. Now if I feel that that is a little light, I'm going to go up a color. So I might. We'll see. And what I mean by up a color, I mean YO 2.5. So maybe I'll just put a little dot in there. Just a little bit, because I want that contrast. Okay, then I'm going to come in with this 0, and I'm going to get rid of all the little yellow lines. Notice I'm not going all the way up to the top. I'm just trying to get rid of the little yellow line. Okay, then I'm going to clean, tap off any yellow in there. Then I'm going to start from the top and go back. And it's very important that you have a clean one. Okay, so we kind of got rid of that yellow line. Now if you need to make absolutely sure that yours is white, clean your brush one more time. You don't want any of that yellow. Just kind of go in, just the tips. And that's how you get that pretty looking daisy. Isn't that pretty? So let's do it one more time together. We're going to come in, and I think I decided to use the Y 2.5. It's a little darker. Now if you don't want this to be symmetrical, you could kind of jagger your little lines, like one, higher than another. I don't really think it matters. Making sure that I got what I want. I'm going to come in with that Y 2.3, kind of blend this line. This one's a little darker, which I kind of like. And then I need to come in with that 0 again and just get rid of this harsh line here. Just want to get rid of any lines so they look smooth, soft. Okay, now you remember I'm going to go this way. And I'm cleaning constantly. And there we go. Pretty, pretty daisy. I want to go around again, just the white. I just think that's gorgeous. Okay, so there you would repeat with these two as well. And then for the middle, you could take a dark brown or you could take a black. So I did black, which is K in this case, is what they call black. And I just dotted it in here. Just dot, 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 because I didn't want any of it to bleed into the daisy. Isn't that pretty? I just think it's a gorgeous daisy. So again, we took our YO 2.5, our Y 2.3, and our 0. And then we put black in the middle. Now let's go ahead and color our leaves, which is our standard favorite greens, YG 8.7 and YG 2.5. Okay, we're going to start with that 8.7, just dark. Go. I'm doing all three just because for me the leaves could look however. Not real picky about my shading on the leaves. So I don't worry about it. I'm a very calm crafter. Don't worry about things, because I'm here to have fun. But as you can see, I'm just pulling from that dark area up. And there we go. 3 leaves, just like that. So once you have colored all those, I have to say the daisies are not my favorite to cut out because you got to go in, out, in, out, in, out. So sometimes what I do is I cut all this way, then I turn around and cut the other way. But take your time, because once you get them, look how beautiful this card is. It's just gorgeous. So it's going to be a wonderful birthday card for someone special. Look at that. All right, so we're going to take a little 2-minute break. I'm going to get myself organized, and then we'll be back to do the last 2 cards, okay? Okay, how's everybody doing? I know that I am having a lot of fun. I hope that you are too. We have 2 more cards left. I mean, I think that last one was a lot of cutting, but boy, was it beautiful once you put it together. So very excited to do the next 2, and the one we're going to work on now is perfect. Just absolutely perfect for the guy in your life. So you kind of need to have one that could be for men. And we're going to learn a whole new way to make a card that I think is a little fun. So let's get started and see what we need. Okay, so I don't know why when I do that I always go the wrong way. Okay, so what we're going to need is we're going to be making this card. And look how perfect it is. Now this is one of my favorite stickers that we don't often use a lot, but I just think it's so perfect for that guy. You know, maybe there are girls who also like to drink an old-fashioned, but for me, I know a special someone in my life that likes an old-fashioned. So, and it is a male. So this is a fun card, but what I really like is learning a different way to make a card. So when we make this card, you're going to learn a different fancy fold. So let's get started. We are going to need our kit, which has these papers in it, and then you're going to need the sticker. And believe it or not, that's all you need. And we are going to No, we're not. We're not using our gold. We're going to use our gold Sharpie on the last card. So this one, this is all we need. So let's get started. Let's open up our pack here. Okay. And what we have here is we have brown, white, pattern paper, wood paper, and you can use either side of the wood paper, just so you know. And then we have what we call, this cardstock is called brown bag. Okay. So let's peek at what we need to do in our instructions. So we're going to fold our 8.5 by 11 brown bag cardstock into 4 quarters by folding in half, turning the paper, then folding in half again. So let's do that first. So we're going to take this paper, fold it in half. I need to make sure I'm at the half. If you want to score it, you can, but it's just easier, I think, to fold it in half. And I am going to use my little bone folder to kind of get the crease. And then it says to open it up and fold it in half again. Okay, so now we have 4 quarters. So, just to kind of take the mystery out of this card, is if I open this up, what you're going to see is that this is one panel up here, and we are going to trim a triangle, which, by the way, means you can get 2 cards out of 1 paper. So we are going to use our ruler to do this, because if you don't have a paper trimmer that's 15 inches, you can't really put it at the right angle. So I believe the instructions say take a ruler. We're going to go from this intersecting corner to the bottom corner here. I'm going to take my pencil. You know, a pencil has been key today. Have you guys noticed? We have really used the pencil. And then we're going to go up here. Okay. There we go. My line wasn't quite right. I'm just going to fix it. Now is the time to do that. Okay. So now our instructions say, with a pencil and ruler, mark a line. Using your scissors, trim on your pencil line. So we're going to take our scissors. Again, the reason we're not using a paper trimmer is because unless you have a very large paper trimmer, it's going to be a little difficult for you. So just take your time, cut. You can straighten it out later. It's not really going to matter. Is anyone nervous cutting with scissors? Don't be. That's how it used to be in crafting before paper trimmers. Paper and scissors. Okay, there we go. So now this side will be going up. This side will be going to the left. And there is our card. And like I told you, you have another card. And you know, you could do all kinds of things. You could do it this way. You can do it, you know, the opposite way, like this. So you have all kinds of ways you can make this card. But you have a whole nother card that you can make right here. Okay. So we're working on this card right here. And again, you have to know if there are angles, that means we're going to be cutting paper at angles. So get prepared. Okay. All right. So we did our card. I'm going to get my paper trimmer because I know that's coming. Okay. So now it says trim the wood paper 2 times 4 inches wide times 5 1/4 high. All right, so we know that this is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. So let's do the 5 1/4. And it did say 4 by 5 1/4, so I'm doing 5 1/4. Then I'm going to cut 4 2 times. 1, 2. All right, perfect. Okay, so then with the paper at a landscape orientation, trim from the right corner to the upper left. So what that means is having it here from the right to, from the lower right here to the upper left. And that should be with the wood that you want. So if you wanted the other wood, you should turn it over. Okay. So if we look at this, just so we know, this will go here, this will go here. All right, so you saw how that works? Perfect. Now when we open this, we notice it's going to be again. 1 here, 1 there. So what it's telling us to do now is trim. I think, do we want both of these to be like this? Let's check. No, so we're going to trim, we want to turn our paper around for this inside one. So for the inside, we want the angle to be this way. So I'm going to go from the upper right to the lower left. This is for the second one. So upper right to lower left. Perfect. Okay, so these are going to be my inside ones. These are going to be my outside ones. Perfect. Okay, so now it says trim pattern paper 4 1/4 by 4. So let's do the 4. And 5 1/4. Okay, got that. That was simple. I like that one. And then we're going to trim the white cardstock. Well, let's do the brown. 4 1/2 wide by 3 1/4 high. So 4 1/2 wide, 3 1/4. And then the white's going to go in the center of that, and it should be, well, let's make this 4. Excuse me. I lost my place. 4 1/4 by 3. Let's do 3 this way and 4 1/4. Okay, so eventually this will go in here, and then these will go on here. So that works out perfectly. And then the last thing we have to worry about is this part right here. So we're going to put Call Me Old Fashioned, and then we're going to use this paper to kind of get it just a little bit peeking out with the brown. So let's go ahead and get this part cut. And let's just double make sure, because it says 4 3/8, but I just want to make sure. All right, so it is 4, so this is 4 1/4. So let's go ahead and make the white 4 1/4, and only because then we know how much room we have to work with. So we know 4 1/4, and then it is 1/2 inch. Gets kind of tricky when you get these smaller pieces here. Okay. So this is the one, and then once I get my words on there, I'm going to wait for my words, then I'll kind of put it on the brown and see how it goes. All right. So I have not cut my brown yet, just so we're all on the same page. I'm going to wait to cut this one. Okay. Now, the fun part. We're going to start assembling this together. So are you ready for that? I'm ready. Okay. Let's start by putting our wood on the outside of the card here. So we're going to take our tape. Now, if you like this other side, you can use that. No problem. That is up to you. You just have to make sure you get the right papers on the right angles. Okay. And then this one is going to go there. I like wood paper. I think it's just so pretty. I do like the slats, but in this case, I just like the wood grain of the paper. Okay. Then we're going to open this, and we're going to put our wood on the bottom. I have tape all over my finger. There we go. And then we're going to put the other one up there. You know, again, once you have your papers cut, look how fast your project can go together. Okay. Now, we're going to put this on the inside here. So this will go just like this. Ooh, if you have a beer drinker, you could use the other side of this paper for beer. Okay. I think I want this to be a little bit lower. Did you hear that as I lifted it up? That's why I like this Tombow, because I can move things around. Okay. And then we're going to put the white. Now I will tell you one little thing that I do. Sometimes I didn't do it here, but sometimes I know some of us, we like to do a distressed edge here. So what I might do is, like, maybe I'll take this very light blue, 2.2, and I just kind of go around the edges just to give it a bit of a distressed look. I just feel sometimes that makes my white paper look pretty good, and I don't have ink pads because I don't stamp, so I use my markers. But I kind of like the look of that. And then I'm just going to turn this over. And put this right here. And then we're going to put this right in the center, I believe. Let's open up the card. Yes, in the center. And that blue kind of picks up the blue in this plaid paper. Okay. All right, so we got that. So let's concentrate. It says happy birthday, and there's a line here. You don't have to put the line, but I did. But the happy birthday, let's find where that is hiding and put that on there. So if you look at your old fashioned, it actually does say happy birthday right there. So it's on this sticker sheet. And we're going to lift up the word happy. And birthday. There we go. And then we're going to go in and we're just going to pick apart anything like we have been doing all day long. So I think we could kind of safely say that the words are the ones that tend to have these inside pieces. And that's why you need these sharp tweezers that we sell. Honestly, it is the best. Okay, so happy birthday. Now if you want that line, where that is hiding is on that larger birthday sheet. There are a couple lines like right down here, or if I go in here and pick a line. So you could just pick that line up off the larger birthday sheet and just kind of put it as like a little extra something if you want. Okay, so there. So I believe that's all there was on the inside. Let's make a double check. Yep, so we've done the inside of the card, so that's great. Okay, so now we're working on the outside of the card. So we need to do our Call Me Old Fashioned. So let's get that white strip. And it's going to be on here. So let's start with the word fashioned and work our way back. I'm going to go in here. Okay. And again, I'm going to slightly press this down in case I need to move it. So there's that. Old. We're all getting old. And it looks like we don't want a lot of space between the words. Me. And then call. So if you notice, all the words are hooked together, which I think makes it a lot easier for all of us. Okay, so there's that. Now this is a little close together. So I'm going to pick up the word old, kind of move it over a little bit. And I'm going to pick up the word me. I may have to move my word call over a little too. I think I am going to move this word. Come on, word. Okay. And then just kind of straighten it up so it's more or less straight. There, call me. Looks like my D is going up a little. Old fashioned. That looks great. Now, looks like the A has a little issue. Take that out, and this A has a little issue. Okay. And then I'm going to do that same thing with my light blue. I'm going to go around the edges. Now you don't have to do this. I am just telling you that I like the look, so I am doing it. There's that. I just think that looks cool. I like it. Okay, so remember we did not cut our brown piece. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this on. I'm going to make a really skinny, like just a hint of this brown paper. And then I'm going to take my paper trimmer and trim it as close as I can. Okay. So you see how that just has a tad of the brown around there. And look how that blue is. Isn't that pretty? So now this is going to go on the bottom here, just like this. And you could have it go over the little thing if you want. But just remember that if you have it go over the triangle, somebody, it'll have to close that way. So I try to just put mine on the very edge. Okay. So I'm going to go like that. It's a little crooked. Okay, there's that. And then there's these little dots here, which are these little tiny squares, and I put them at diamonds, so we could do that. So we'll just kind of put it maybe right here. Again, you don't have to do this. I just like to use the little elements. You could use the silver if you want. The silver holographic dots, but there's that. And now all we have to do is our image. And so let's get our glitter paper and get that started. Okay, so we're going to just peel the old-fashioned drink. Let's see. And we're just going to put it on our glitter paper. Then we're going to take our brayer because it's very important. We don't want colors like we don't want this color to get into this color or the ice to get into that color. So we're just going to brayer it. This is giving it a tight fit to the glitter paper, sticker to glitter paper. And I find it just so helpful. Okay. So now we're going to color. Let's start with the, I think an old-fashioned is bourbon. I'm not sure, but it looks like we want that browns. So I have this new combo that I really like. I'm going to see if that's what I used, which is this 04.6. I think that's a little too dark, but we'll see. And then this one. So I think that is a good combo. That's what I use. So what it is, it's 04.3, 04.6. And I can't remember which Expo pack it's in. I want to say 7. Michelle, can you verify that for me?
What can I verify?
4.6 and 4.30. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to just add some dark here. Now, if you want it to be a little bit more golden, I'm going to do my other side a little different so that you could see. So don't color yet, anybody, until you see which one you like better. This is one idea for you. Okay, now I want to show you a contrast, and that is some of the colors we were using earlier, which was that YO 2.5, here's 2.7, and here's 2.5. So you could see side by side, this is a little bit more golden. So let's just kind of see what that looks like on the other side. Okay, that was YO 2.7, and this is 2.5. So that has a little bit more of the yellow in it, which maybe you like that a little better. So you could really see the difference here. So these two markers here were in Expo Set 7. And they are definitely one of my favorites. But here's another one. And I'm just going to marry these. And if I want to add gold, I'm just going to go over it. But look how cool. So again, I just want to show you different color combos. You pick the one you like. There's no right or wrong. Okay? Look how I have two different colors going and it still looks very cohesive. All right. Now, I want to make sure I put these back, 4.6, 4.3. We need to do our ice cubes and the water. So we're going to use 2.2 and we're going to use that 0 again. Remember the 0 from the daisy? You want to make sure you have no yellow on there. Okay? All right, so we're going to come in and we're just going to lightly put a little bit of this blue. This is 2.2. Oops, that was supposed to be an ice. Well, now it's not. It's part of the drink. And I didn't do the drink there. I was so busy with my coloring. But that's not going to matter. If this bothers you and you colored it because you were following me, you could just take a piece of an ice cube from another sticker and put it over there and then color it the right way, but it actually just looks like it's part of the drink, so I don't think it's a problem. Now I am just getting rid of these rough edges of the blue with my zero. This zero is amazing. Okay, look, that's kind of cool. Now we're going to do the upper part of the glass. Put a little bit of blue. Come in with your zero. Did you clean your zero? Want to get any excess color off. I have a little yellow in there. Okay. There we go with that, our glass. So is our glass half empty or half full? Anybody know? Are you a half empty or a half full person? Okay, so all we have left now is our orange. And I believe that we had some of our favorite colors out earlier. We have this 2.4. I am going to put a little yellow in there into the center here. And then we need to have an outside, which I think was OR 2.5. So OR 2.5, I'm doing the Rhine. Then I'm going to come in with this O 2.4. And I'm going to use this O 2.4 here for the inside. And I'm going to add my Y 2.3. The yellow in here just makes the orange nice and vibrant. Okay. And after doing that, we have colored our old fashioned. So you will trim this out. You're going to put it on here. And you're going to be careful not to get any black or anything on the back. But it is going to stick over the little triangle a little bit. But look how cute this card is. It's just so adorable. And again, you can make a second card because you have the base from what we cut. So that was our fourth card. I'm going to straighten up right here and we're going to go right into our last card. How's everybody doing out there? Are you hanging in with me? I mean, we are already going to be on our last card. It is so hard to believe. It's just time is going on by. So I'm putting my markers away. And then I'm going to get our last card, which is right here. Look how pretty this is. And it looks like a fancy fold card, so you could also stand it up like this, so how fun. Looks like we will probably need a scoreboard. So if you don't have that handy, you may want to look for one. I'm going to get our cupcake out right there. Looks like we're going to have some dots. And we are going to use a little bit of the border. So we want our border, dots, cupcake, and the last thing we need to do, let's just see here. I think we're going to need the word happy birthday, which is from our large birthday sentiment. And we need our kit, which is right here. And I'm gonna get my scoreboard out just to have it ready. Okay, so let's just get that down so you can see my cut. So again, let's look at how cute this card is. So it is a fancy fold, meaning it has several little folds, and it just kind of makes it a little bit more fun for the person getting the card, you know, to look at. So, and it can stand up as a decoration. And I just love the purple, so I'm excited to work with purple. All right, so we have our stickers. We just pulled them. And I'm going to open up my little kit here. Okay. This one we did give you an envelope. I don't know, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. So feel lucky you got one. Okay, so we have these papers and it's time to go to our cutting. So let's see what we're going to cut. Okay, the first thing is trim the lavender paper 8.5 wide by 5.5 inches high. So this is an 8.5 inch wide paper already, and we're going to go 5.5 inches. But I want to take a peek at something, just so that I am clear. So then we're going to trim the lavender cardstock 8 inches. Okay, so we can do it this way. So we're going to go ahead, put our paper this way. So it's already 8.5 inches and we want 5.5 inches. Okay. All right, so we got that. One down. Then the next one is trim this lavender 8 inches wide by 1.5 inches. So let's go to 1.5 inches. And we need 8 inches. So we know this is 8.5, so let's just take off a half. So I'm doing mathematics. I took off a 1/2 inch, which left 8 inches wide by 1.5. Okay? Go with that. Now it's saying to trim the purple gingham 4 inches wide by 5.25. Okay, so the purple gingham is the back of this floral paper. If you like the floral paper, you could do that. But we are going to do 4 inches and 5.25. Okay. Then it says to trim the purple gingham, again, 5.25 by 1 7/8. So this is going to be 5.25 and 1 7/8. So 1, that's almost going to be to the 2, but not quite. Okay. Trim the purple dot paper 5.25 by 1 7/8. Okay, so here we're going to go with, let's do the 1 7/8. And then we need 5.25. What beautiful paper. Look at this mini dot. It's all embossed for us. How pretty. Okay. So now we got that purple dot paper, and we're going to trim, again, the purple dot paper 3 3/4 by 2 3/4. So let's go 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So 2 3/4, 3 3/4, all of this is in your instructions. The red that I'm reading here. So we're going to do the white paper 3 1/2 by 2 1/2. So let's do 2 1/2. Three and a half, and it is a bit confusing because we go and do all of the cutting first. If we were doing it as the instructions say, we would have a better understanding, but this is just, you know, how we're going along. So we need our white cardstock to be 2 1/2 by 4 1/4. Two and a half. So one more white cardstock, 2 1/2 by 4 1/4. I don't think I did that right. No, because I was talking. 2 1/2, not 3 1/2. So 2 1/2. See, I'm talking and then I get mixed up. Okay, 2 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then the purple dot is going to be 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. So 4 1/2, 2 3/4. And that should be all the cutting. So I'm going to put this aside. Here are all our cut pieces, and we have extra pieces. I'm going to put them to the side. And this should be all we need to make our card. So all I did was go through everything in red here. I cut it, and now I'm ready to assemble the card. Okay, so we'll start again. Trim your lavender paper, score at 2 1/8, 4 1/4, so 2 score lines. I'm going to get these cut papers out of my way here. Okay. So it says on the 8 1/2 inch side. So this means this is 8 1/2 inch side. It wants me to go to 2 1/8, 4 1/4. Now, if you don't have a scoreboard, what this really is this is half of this paper. So if we fold it, we're going to fold this in half. And that's the first, you know, the second score line that we did, the 4 1/4. And then this one is going to go back to half of that 4 1/4. That's why it's 2 1/8. Okay, so if you don't have a scoreboard, fold your paper in half, then take this one and fold it back. So there's that. Okay. Okay, so I just showed you how to fold the card. This is the mountain, this is the valley, and now we're going to go to our inside panel. Okay, so our inside panel, we need to take that large purple gingham, and we're going to put that right in here, just like this one right here. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Then it says to trim your purple gingham and your purple dot, and we're going to put them on the panel. So that would be these that were that 1 7/8, which somehow, did I make a mistake? Wow. So this one goes here. I just want to let you know, the part of the problem doing things live is I don't look at my paper trimmer right. So this is supposed to be the same, but I didn't cut it long enough. So we're going to see where I messed up. So this goes here, but I don't think it's going to matter. I'll show you why. So I'm about, I think, an inch short. I wasn't looking, so I'm going to cut a little piece like that. I tell you, sometimes I just don't know what I'm thinking. But it is live, and this is a live, fun thing. Let's see. I think it's about an inch, so let's just see. So I wasn't looking at the right numbers on my cutting. So I'm just going to get that off a little bit. And it's not going to show because of that other panel. So another thing I could do is I could cut it here if I thought it was going to be a problem. But because this panel's going to go over here, I don't think it'll be a problem. So I'm just going to do that. Oh, I ran out of tape. I'm having all kinds of fun. Oh, and this one doesn't work. Sometimes you get these tombos and they just don't work. It's annoying. So I roll it and we see. Yep. No, kind of worked for a minute. To go get another one in a minute. Okay. So we put that on there. So now we have this. Perfect. Okay, so now we trim the white and we're going to adhere to the purple dots. All right, so I want you guys to take this white, put it to the purple dot. I'm going to go grab another tape runner. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So this one, I did have tape in it, but it's defective for some reason, so that doesn't help. So I'm getting a new one. Okay, so you should have put your white on your purple. Okay, and then this is going to go in here, so let's just go ahead and get that in there. Okay, and then while we're at it, let's go and put the happy birthday. And you'll want to take these things out. Again, a lot of this is going to be your homework to do on your own. There's happy birthday. Okay, so there's that. And now we might as well put this last two papers together. So this white's going to go on this purple right here. Okay. Now I think this is a good time for us to go ahead, put our border on, and it's only on the top and the bottom. So I'm peeling the scallop. I'm just going to put this on the top and the bottom. To kind of give it a decoration. And it looks like one strip will do the whole bottom. So that means one strip should do the whole top. Okay. So for those of you who have stuck with me the whole day, guess what? We're almost done. So hang in there. This card, I just love the purple. Is purple anyone's favorite color out there? It sure is mine. And I never really liked purple. I liked it when I was very young, and then I didn't like it, but now I like it again. Kind of goes back and forth. Okay. This white on here, these white borders really add that extra little fun touch. Okay, so we got our borders on there. So we have a strip, we have this, and then we'll be doing a cupcake. Okay, so back to the instructions. Let's just see here what it says. We peeled the sentiment, we put it on, we peeled the border sticker. Now we're going to, we didn't score the little strip, so we have to score it at 4 and 6 inches. Okay, so 4, 6. So score at 4 inches, 6 inches. If you don't have a scoring tool, you're going to want to put that with a ruler. Okay, so you're going to do the first fold, mountain, valley. Okay, so it kind of goes like this. Put this back because I don't want to lose that. Okay. Now, the way this is going to work is that this is going to go over here. And basically, we're going to put it on at the edge of that paper. And it should go almost to there. Okay, so we're going to only put tape on the part that's on the gingham part of the paper. So turn it over. This will let you know where to stop the tape. Okay, so I saw where to stop it. Now I'm going to put this down, matching it to the gingham. Oh, almost to the top of that little wave border. Okay, and then this part, we're going to open it. We're going to put tape on the back of this. Tape all on the back of that last one, and then you're going to close your card just like that. And therefore, when you open it, it's going to do this. So this also went to the edge of the gingham, just like that. Okay? So now this one here is going to go on here. And again, because you don't know, you don't want to put too much tape over here. So I turn it over and I kind of figure it out that way. And then when you turn it over, it's good. I probably should have put this up a little bit, but it doesn't matter if yours is down like mine. But if you wanted it up. Actually, I'm just going to keep it because I liked it that way. Okay. Just going to put it like this. Okay, and then it kind of has like that little look there. And then we're going to put our cupcake sticker here. So let's get our cupcake sticker. We're going to get that word celebrate because it is a celebration. I love cupcakes. Anyone have a favorite favorite taste? Mine's chocolate. I like chocolate. Okay, so there's celebrate. Again, you'll want to poke out any of these insides. Okay. And then we are going to take some of these hearts. We'll put one up here. And we'll put one maybe over like this. And this is where we're going to take our gold, little Sharpie, add some gold in here. I think it adds an extra, just something. And we're also going to take these, like, I don't know what you call them. Little spirals or flowers, maybe they're flowers. And we're going to stick a large one and a small one. See if I could get the small one. There we go. And then we could put a little dot in there. And if you want to color your dot to the gold, let's just do that. So we want this medium. And we want a, I don't know, maybe a tiny one, mini. So here's the mini one. So I kind of made them gold to kind of match our hearts. Ooh, that one's too big. So it was a small and a mini Okay. So I'm coloring my small. I'm going to put it on here. There, that's right. Okay. Look how cute. That just added that little bit. Now, I do want to go quickly into one little thing. If you color with your Sharpies, which you can, but when you do, it doesn't have as much sparkle come through, and it tends to make the paper a little flat. But you can do it if you want to. So I just wanted to point that out. There's nothing stopping you. You will get some of the sparkle through, but not a lot. Okay. So all that's left for our card here is our cupcake. So I'm going to take the cupcake sticker. I'm going to put it on our glitter paper. Look how much glitter paper is left over. You guys have a lot of glitter paper, a lot of extra stickers. Okay, we got that. And then we do have our cherry. Okay. So again, the cherry, you don't want to press down the stem because you want to lift that up and cut behind it. Okay, so I'm just going to brayer the cherry part, cupcake, and we will color away. Okay, so up here we're going to do the blue and the 0 again. So it's the same. I was pretty consistent with the colors I was using just so that that would make it easier for you guys. 2.2, 0. So let's go in here. You could have made this, I guess, a light purple, but sometimes too much purple kind of takes away. Okay, so I'm putting my blue. I'm going to come in with the 0, making sure it's clean. Going to get rid of those lines. And this is just to add a little bit of shading. And I am just going over the line, just so you know. Okay. There. Okay, so I added a little bit of blue, and then remember my favorite new colors, 4.6, 4.3. That's going to be the cupcake part. I don't want it to look burnt, so I'm not going to do a lot of the dark. So now I'm going to go to the 4.3. Okay. And our cupcake here. So depending how dark you want it, I wanted it to kind of reflect some of that. You have to kind of pick your colors. So this is 1.7, which I think is a little dark. This is BV 1.4, and I kind of like that color. So this is BV 4.4. So I kind of, that one is a little too gray. So I'm going to look for something maybe just a tad lighter. Just see here. This is the hard part. I don't remember what I use. So, here. Here's a tad lighter. So that's very light. So if I do those, maybe I'll do those 3. Okay, it's 1.1, BV 1.4, and BV 1.7. So I'm just going to put dots at this 1.7. I don't want it to be too dark. So I'm just going to kind of do this, and I'm just going to put it down here. I don't like my stuff way dark. Okay. Now I'm going to go to that 1.4. You can see how dark this can get really fast. So you have to be very careful. So you're going to color in your cupcake. I'm just kind of working that dark color right now. Okay, then I might come up a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to try that 1.1. Now, if you don't like how something looks, you can go over it again, but you have to make sure you're not working it over and over. So if it's more than 2 times, let it dry for a few seconds and then go back over it. Otherwise, you're going to lift the glitter. And that's the same with cardstock. You'll wear a hole in your cardstock. So you have to be a little patient. But look, I like that. That's beautiful. Pretty. Okay. I like, so here is the more violet purples. Here's the more blue violet to kind of let you know. That's the color I went with today. And then our cherry is going to be back to that 1.5 and 5.1. So here's 5.1. Let's see if I can find that 1.5. Here it is, our 1.5. Put this in. Put our cherry. And then you just need to cut that out and it goes on your card. But look how pretty. So we got our cupcake made. Let's look at the card one more time. Just kind of get everything out of the way here. So this is the card we made. And I think that turned out really cute. And then we're going to put our cupcake on it, and this is what the finished card will look like. Okay? All right, so I think the best thing to do now is to review all our projects to get Michelle in here. Then we can say that we had so much fun crafting. So Michelle, are you available?
I'm right here.
She's here, yay. All right, so we had fun, Michelle.
We did.
So we made all these fun cards. So let's look at them one more time. So we have the snail. We had this fun shaker card with our new shape. We did our daisy card. We did this wonderful kind of male version happy birthday card. And then we just did the cupcake. So which one of these is your favorite? Did you have a favorite?
I actually really like the daisies, and it was a fan favorite, so this one right here is my favorite.
That's pretty, and I think the way that we colored it made it more exciting. So again, thank you for spending 5+ little hours with us here at Krazy Creations. We will be having this become a subscription. Look for that after March. We do it every quarter. I hope you had fun. I'm Kara.
I'm